Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Job Shop USA. My name is Keith and I'm your host. We're back in here at the 3D printer because we have just finished printing a set of the toe clamps that we were in the process of at the end of the last video. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to take them and we're going to continue on with our process. Now, there they are right there, hot off the printer. Now the next step is to go ahead and give them a bath and rinse them off or wash. So I'm going to close that to keep that clean and pure and everything. And we're going to set this for the time we want in minutes. All right, we slide that on there like that and we go start. So it's basically going to wash this for about 20 minutes, and then when this gets done, we're going to take it from the wash. We'll blow dry it, and when we know that it's 100% dry, then we're going to go ahead and put it in the cure machine, and that will be curing the plastic. That's our pump, and it rotates things around. Sometimes the harmonics actually pick up a little bit in there, but it does the job. All right, we're going to let that do. We got 19 minutes and 33 seconds left to go. All right, 10 seconds here, and should be done. All right, we're going to go blow these off. Pretty sharp detail, really. Even the hole, without having any kind of support in there. There are some needs for support from time to time, but I've found that locating your parts on the surface there in the right position, you don't need supporting for everything. Once in a while in the program, when you go to put it in, automatically generate the program, and it'll put it up on supports and stuff, and you don't need that all the time. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put them in here to dry, and I'm going to just break these loose onto the table here. Okay, and we'll take and we'll wash this after we're done here. All right, now we're going to take our parts. We're just going to set them in here on the dryer. All right, and there we go. All right, and then this will go ahead and cure them. And we're done on this, so we can put this back to sleep. All right, so in about another 20 minutes or so, the dryer should dry those and we'll be ready to go. Then we'll go out and we'll take a look at the whole set that I've actually printed out already. While we're waiting for that to play around, we have another project here. We're going to be printing another plastic ring here, and this is to hold a spotlight on the front of a boat. And of course it got knocked senseless and broke. So I want to just put a little bit of super glue on here just to hold the if I got any in here, or maybe the tip is clogged. I think the tip's clogged. Okay, nothing a little push pin didn't fix. Okay, we're just gonna put a little bit on that seam right there, and we're gonna kind of hold that in place right there. Okay, at least enough to hold it together to get some dimensions. All we're looking for. Gonna open up the cure. This is the wash and this is the cure. I know I state as a dryer. Dryer meaning hardening or curing, and being cured plastic afterwards is the right terminology. And as far as the dryness and feel, that's kind of where my talking was going. All right, now see if I can get this in here close enough. There you go. All right, that's the bottom, the back, and the sides. Get the right light reflection there, and you can see. And the same with the other three pieces here. Okay, this is our draft plastic that we printed these up here to give you the example going through from the printer to the wash to the cure part of making plastic parts. And my original design, I created this slot a little bit on the small side. All of our finished clamps that we're going to go look at, I actually put them in the mill and ran a mill real quick into them. It was just like hand crank back and forth, and it was a nice setup. But I got some clearance in there because I didn't want to have a tight groove in here. This was actually real tight to the studs, the 5mm studs that we use on the FENNERIZE X-Carve machine. To have off the print line use of your parts is pretty cool. There's a little bit of flashing on here from where it was onto the table, which is no biggie. In fact, most of the time, something like your deburr tools will come into play. This is really a bad, I've abused this Noga here. My black one's much better. Back a couple days when we glued this up, I ordered some more tough 2000 plastic to make another one of these spotlight mounts for my customer. So that's what we had. At the same time I ordered that material, I asked Formlabs to send me samples of two materials that I actually would like to start being able to print. And this is a PU resin, and this is a really hard, tough plastic, and I always look for signs of how they actually printed it, and they printed it flat on the screen in that position right there. TPU Rigid 1000 resin is a semi-rigid, long-lasting, and tough polyurethane material. This is semi-rigid, stable, sturdy, and unyielding. It's the kind of hard plastic that you have under the hood of your car on a lot of your plastic components and stuff like that. It is very, very tough, and I'm interested in printing this. I do have to pick up a couple extra items to be able to print this material with my machines, because the moisture is a big deal in printing this kind of plastic. and getting the results that you want. Now there's another PU rigid material. This is PU 650, and this is basically the same kind of polyurethane material, but a flexible state. A tough, long-lasting, and pliable polyurethane material that can withstand extreme impacts repeatedly while maintaining true shape and mechanical properties. Okay, pliable, shock absorbing, impact resistant, and noise abating. That's pretty cool. So your plastic components that have flex and impact strength right there. Both of these are polyurethane based materials, and they both take new technology. This was printed in this position here, by the way, and it makes a big deal. And so some of my toe clamp components I printed in this position, and then I learned that turning these over this way here work. This does work here as well this way, but these standing up almost flawlessly print. So just some of the things that I'm learning in my 3D printing and the process and the progress that I'm getting here in my little 3D printing room. All right, off to the X-Carve table. Let's go. Before we go over to the working side of the X-Carve, we opened up our control panel here on the right hand side, which has our brain and our pennant wiring, and this is the e-stop relay that we added in. We received our new relay and I popped it in, and now our e-stop on our pennant works exactly the same as if we reach over and we hit each of our e-stops on the table, and everything energizes back the way it's supposed to. And then you set on your screen to re-enable your machine after your X-Carve, or you re-energize your program after your e-stop is cleared. Okay, so basically our controls are all in our control again. And we can start setting up and playing with our machine that we created 7 years or so ago, or started playing with 7 years ago, and then 4 years ago we had a break. We had to move over here to the new location, so now it's set and ready to go. Okay, now we have a real abundant mill clamp or toe clamp set for our machine here that we've created. And until we change out the table and our guides and some other things that we already know that we're going to be venturing into improving this machine, and now that we've built the brains to actually do all the motions, we can work on establishing an even stronger and better performance as far as the machine. And we'll know more when we do more with it, the avenue that we're going to be going to on those changes. So our toe clamps are done. We have picked up a variety of bits for engraving, and some of these are pretty tiny. Carbide and high speed steel, but we're interested in venturing into engraving to start off with. Our pennant now is working perfectly, and the e-stop like we showed you before. All right, our touch plate We've got that soldered up. We've already made test runs and we're getting our signal in our program, and that's a beautiful thing. That's a working item. The very last feature we need to change over on this before we actually start putting a part down on the table and trying to program setting up everything and making our first cuts with aluminum and other harder materials than wood. We're not planning on doing any woodwork on this machine here because we're just not beavers here. We're in this job shop. But plastics and soft materials, brass, aluminum, things like that are things that we would like to be engraving and machining. This lead screw, I bought some material. I've just cut this off rough to length here. When I added all the height in here, I didn't add any height or length to the Z axis. And I'm actually running out of lead screw when I get down or close to the table. So if I had short bits and things like that, the thing basically falls off the lead screw, and that's a catastrophe. That would happen. So I've lengthened the lead screw to where that spindle would have to go right into the tabletop before I actually lose control of lead screw travel control on it. So we'll be machining this off. We've recently gotten super busy in our shop, and this project here is going to be taking probably a back seat here for another week or so before we actually come up with some material removing off of here. Hey, sometimes in a job shop you're even all over the place, and here's another example. And this Owen attachment here for my Surface Pro turns this into a oscilloscope. And so we're learning. I'm not going to say it's any more than learning, but we've got this set up and we just did some tuning, and we have this ready to go because we want to go ahead and see or test a couple areas where we need to know why we had to add a little filter in a couple settings, and we had travel just kind of wandering on its own, but we added in some filter. But this will let us know possibly where our issues are at. And so anyway, it's set ready to go, and I had it here, and I just wanted to show you how off the wall sometimes I'll venture into different things. I got my hands in everything that's interesting to me anyway. All right, line it up to the top where that'll be machined for the pulley and the locking screw, and that's about how much more we're going to be adding to this. All right, until next time, you've been watching Job Shop USA.